Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you guys have been looking, I will be making a video, several videos of me expressing myself through a book that I was going to write called The Men in My Closet. Okay. It is a book about 13 to 14 chapters of me going through life and experiencing certain things with, yes, men. Were there women? Yes. But some of the most traumatic things that have happened that have brought me to certain places in my life has been because of that. Okay. So you're going to hear some happiness, some sadness, some madness. You're going to hear a lot. But most importantly, this is a way for me to express myself and clean out areas in my life so I can now place good things in. Do you understand me? And I'm really excited about this journey, but I'm at the same time I'm really nervous because this is a lot of things that I have kept inside that I have not talked about. Okay? So this is really valuable and precious to me. So this is really gonna be like you're my therapist right now. You're going to be the person listening, and I'm going to be the one laying in the chair. Excuse me if I cry. Excuse me if, I do a lot of going, back and forth through. It's not going to be perfect because I didn't write any of this stuff out. It's just really me and my thoughts right now. Okay. So, yeah, let's just get into it. Chapter one is about my father. This is going to be the only chapter where you will hear exactly who the person is. I didn't want to put names out there. I just didn't want a lot of whatever. I just didn't want to do it. That's how I feel, and that's how it is. Okay. So, yeah. So let's just get into it. Here we go. My father, chapter one. So, as you guys know, the title what a father is. The father is the opposite of your mother. The father is the person that typically, you know, they call like girls gravitate towards. They always call them like the daddy girls. So they're the people, they're the men, they're your introduction to what a man is. That's what it is. They're your blueprint pretty much of what your expectations are going to be like, what you're going to feel like a man should be like, how you think a man should carry themselves. All of this stuff ties into a father. And I am forever grateful that, you know, I have one. Let's just say that first and foremost. Just to like clear it up in the beginning now, me and my father have a wonderful relationship. I love him dearly and always have and always will. Um, Is there a lot of things that he does not know? Yes. Is this probably going to be the first time that he hears about him? Yes. Is it going to like bring up some things between me and him? It probably will. But I want everybody to understand why I'm doing this. And if you love me, you will understand that I'm doing this for me and I need to do this. This is not a way to bash anybody. I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to be any of that. So, like I said, that's what a father is supposed to be. And my initial relationship with my father was what it was. He was exactly that. He was the person, as I was a child, that was that. He did have me fairly young. He was about 13 or 14 when he first started having children. So I'm not really sure. We're 4 years apart. So he was about, what, 17, 18, 19. My mom was like 18, 19 when she had me. So they were still fairly young trying to figure things out. Um, I'm not really going to speak on why my father did certain things or why he felt certain things were needed because that's his story. But I want to express that my father to me was a person who felt like you did need love and affection, but he showed his love through gifts and buying things, and that was just his way of expressing love. But he also did tell me that he loved me. He kissed me on my forehead. He did all these things for me. Over time, you know, his life changed. He got into a lifestyle where it changed us drastically. I went from a child who had their mom and dad, um, to seeing things shift. Things shifted in their behaviors, things shifted in the way they treated us, things just shifted. And you guys pretty much probably know it's drugs. Drugs got involved in my family's life and in my father's life. And um, I just want people to understand that when you grow up around things like that, it exposes you at a very young age. So I was very young, seeing a lot of things that I shouldn't have seen, when it came to those habits and the things that they decided to do in their life, or what my father decided to do in his life. I grew up in a home where it was very abusive, as far as him and my mom. Very physically abusive, very verbally abusive, mentally abusive. And I'm not going to say that it was all him. It was both of them. They both were going through the things that they went through. I think my biggest thing is that I got exposed to it. I felt like nobody cared enough to like not let me see it or hide it from me. No, I saw a lot. It was a very distinct time in my life where I remember either it was me visiting or I was living with my mom, where my father came and, he came and got me. He put me in the car with my grandmother. During that time, I could hear like screaming. I could hear them arguing, my mom and my dad. And, as I started to look out the window, I can remember seeing him like dragging her out the house. I seen him like basically fighting her. And I'll never forget my mom running over to the car, and she was screaming into the car to my grandmother, and she was like, "He's fighting me. He's fighting me, like basically help me." And I'll never forget, at a very young age, I heard my grandmother look at my mom and say, "What did you do to him? What did you do to him to make him do that?" And believe it or not, although very young, I knew that that wasn't right. It was something in me that knew that that wasn't right. But I'm a child. Who am I? What am I to, like, you know? So, you know, that affected me. I'll later explain why it affected me and how it affected me. But yeah, it was moments like that where I got exposed to certain things about my dad that I did not like. So while along loving this person, loving my father, I had to learn who he was at the same time. And not all the time, like now I realize that not all the time that it was him. It was the drugs, it was the lifestyle, it was certain things that was happening. But understand that these things happen in front of me. So it affected me drastically. So from that moment, after like all the abuse and things like that, the next thing I remember is me having to go live with my grandmother. It got to a point where they can no longer take care of me. And I had to go live with my grandmother. After that, my dad, he stayed in my life as much as he could. That was one thing that I respected about my father, was that he did not allow me to be exposed to him and how he was, or what he did, or what he looked like when he was out there. My mom was just around. Like, I would see her look the way she looked and, be strung out and things like that. But my father never did that. He stayed away. But in those times where he decided to come around, it did affect me. Like I said, we we built a bond through gift giving, and that was his way of expressing certain things. So every year on my birthday, he would always make it known that I was to get two gifts. I was to get a birthday gift, and I would get a Valentine's Day gift, because my birthday is February the 13th. So that was something that he started from when I can remember. But drugs do change things. So I remember a very distinct day where he called me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna come take you to the circus. This is what we're gonna do." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm so excited." Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen my dad. I get to see my dad. I get to go to the circus. I get to open up these gifts. I'm just excited. And I never forget standing by the door waiting. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited. And he never showed. I felt abandoned. I didn't I didn't understand why me. I didn't understand why he would say that and not keep his word. I didn't understand it. And it hurt. It hurt. And I know that it hurt because it, like, even me talking about it now, it affects me. It triggers me. And every time I go to that place, I see that child standing in that door. I see that little girl standing there. And although I know that he didn't mean it, it still affected me. It still hurt me. It still caused a lot of things to happen in my life. So, yeah, I think that was like the first time that I had ever experienced a letdown, or somebody not keeping their word. Somebody that was dear to me, somebody that I cherish, somebody that I love. Like, I'm the daddy's girl. Like, to this day, I'm still the daddy's girl. You know, and one thing that we have to understand about a child is a forgiving person. Over and over again, they yearn for their parents' love. They yearn for their parents' attention. You know, and I understand that their lifestyle caused them to stray away from that. But it still affected me. It still hurt me. Um, so with that being said, these are very distinct moments that I remember that, yeah, caused a lot of these next chapters to happen. So over time, you know, that became a pattern in me and my father's life. And then the patterns went to just non existence. where I did not hear from him or I did not see him, until a little bit older. And every time that I would see him, it was always like things like not the real focus or me being the focus or me and his relationship being the focus. It was always like, your mom does this and your mom does that. And I'll never forget me being 16 years old and I got tired of it. I got so tired of it. And I finally just stood up for myself and I'm just like, you weren't all that either. You weren't. And that was like my first step to opening up to my father. And I remember very distinctly, like after that, our relationship became a lot better. I felt a lot more comfortable being around him without carrying so much, that I was carrying guilt and shame and fear and just the uncertainty and the confusion of why certain things were. Because, like I said, he was always, even though he was out there, he still protected me in a way, or he did certain actions where I could understand, okay, this is why you did this. He was like a high functioning addict. He still worked. He still had a conscience. He still had certain things about him. So it allowed me to kind of transition through my hurt and my pain a little bit easier. It helped me understand. So our relationship became a lot better, but it was just those things that still sat there that I never really expressed to him. And I really think that it was because of fear. It was because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But I'm sorry, Dad. It's my time and you hurt me. Do I understand why? Yes. Do I forgive you? Yes. This is me, and I know that you're probably going to listen to this, but I forgive you. I forgive you for the things that has happened. I forgive you for everything that I saw. I forgive you for everything that you exposed me to. I forgive you because I understand now that it was not your fault. You were doing the best that you could with what you had. So this chapter is really the beginning. I've told you several events that have happened where I've experienced abandonment. I've told you a story where I've experienced abuse. I've told you a story where I've experienced addictions and behaviors, all exposing me to certain things in my life that I felt like was normal, that was okay. And it's going to lead into these next chapters. And you're going to start seeing some things and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I see it. Because guess what? I see it too. I see it too. Um, so yeah, like if I could just give any encouraging words is to really find that inner child. Talk to that inner child. Go back and see and feel that inner child and bring them to now. Face the adult you, because now the adult you can help that child and help them understand that it wasn't their fault. sensitive because I'm still healing. I'm still healing. This is not something that I have overcome. This is literally me. This is my first time letting these things out. And now I can help her understand that it wasn't her fault. None of the things that your parents did, none of the things that your father did was your fault. It wasn't. You were just exposed to some shit that hurt you, triggered you, traveled through your life when it came to different people, when it came to different places, when it came to the things that you allowed, when it came to the things that you accepted. This was the beginning. But remember, you always have the final say so. So that is chapter 1. I didn't really go in full. I don't have to. I just wanted you to get the picture. That's it. Get the picture. 2 very distinct traumatizing moments in my life as a child that was the gateway to a lot of fucking bullshit that you ready to hear about. So, to myself, I love you, girl. To my father, you know I love you. You know I do. He's one of my best friends. And we have established a relationship now where he is being my father. He is playing that role. And it's always been there. The drugs and stuff just clouded it. He's always been that man, you know. And I'm sorry that happened to him. But he's now recovered for several years. He is now, you know, doing pretty much everything that he always has done. You know, he works hard, he has a family, he has a house, he has everything. And I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of him. So that is chapter 1. Stay tuned for chapter 2.